Good morning, everyone. Like in the last class, we are trying to communicate with the association that is called many to one, one to many. So here we created the class called item. Which class we created here? The item class we created, and along with item, we are trying to communicate with the bid. So carefully observe here what are the configuration we made here. This item class we created, and you can check here. This item is a one class and is going to depends on the many the bid classes here. So how we implemented here using this particular set of bids. So this is the way we are going to implement the particular one to many relations here. And observe the same way when we come to the bid class, this is the class having the many relation to this particular one class. Getting the point? So that's the reason we made as a item as a one type. Here we are not using any collection style here. Now back to here to work on this particular item class. To work on this particular item class, what we configured here, and open this particular item.hbm.xml. Item.hbm.xml. This is the mapping file, and you can easily identify here the class name item, and the table also we made as a item. And here we provided some of the properties. The type also we specified as a long. Okay, and these are the properties which we are using internally in the particular item class. Now identify here. Now identify here this particular set here. So this is very important because so we are making this particular association nothing but one to many relation here. Like how we are making here. So that is nothing but the set name we are making bits. The set name we are making bits. So this bits coming from where? So where we defining inside this particular item class. So observe here the name of this particular set we are making as a bits, and the same thing the same name we are going to use the name of the set here. And here I'm making cascade. Cascade is nothing but whenever we are trying to perform the parent class when parent class information something called, if you are trying to update the child class records also is going to update. Same way any operation if you are making in the parent level, so that it like the changes will reflected in the child class also. So that's the reason we are making this particular cascade here. So we will see different types of cascade here. And here the key column, this is very important here, like which column we are trying to map, we are going to specify in the particular one to many. Getting the point? Now observe here one to many. So one is a item class, many is a bid class. So that's the reason we made as a the particular class bid here. Okay. So now, so these all about this particular the item mapping file here. Along with this particular item mapping file, we have implemented bid.hbm.xml. So here we have only the name of the class, table name, and along with the name of the class and table, we are having the ID and one property. So something called bid amount. And here we are making many to one relation here. Many to one relation here, observe carefully the name here. Name here nothing but many here, the like wherever we are trying to define the particular tag, so the first letter is indicating the first word is going to indicating the current class. So something called here the many is reference to the bid class, and many to one where we are specifying in the particular bid class with the name of item. And we are which column we are trying to mapping here, the column here item ID. So name of the class here item, and we are not going to make empty value. So that's the reason we are making not null constraint here. Getting the point? So these are about the configuration. Okay. Observe here in the yesterday while running our application, we are getting like in the particular schema the data is not inserted, right? But maybe the file it is not loaded properly, the same changes, same changes are available in the particular class. So accepted in the yesterday we made this particular connection also to this particular default schema. So I removed this connection because so we need to specify hibernate.default schema. So other than this, I did not implemented any changes here. Go back to the our main class. Let me run the same example. So we can check here using this particular SQL statements. Using the same SQL statements, we can identify like how the data is trying to insert into database. Now we can observe here, these are the sequence numbers, right? But now you can identify Hibernate is nothing but the schema we are using, and this is nothing but table, and the same way the bid also table we created. So total three records we are able to see here, but one is for item and the remaining two for bid classes. Getting the point? So these are about the SQL generation here. Now we'll go back to this particular database. Let me go to our example. Let me refresh this particular schemas here and Hibernate schema. Inside the Hibernate schema, now we can able to see bid and item class. Bid and item class. So first we'll check the particular bid class here. Hibernate dot bid. We can observe here. So we have four records here. This is the bid ID 2356, and you can identify the item ID 1144. Now we can check the same way. Select star from Hibernate dot item. Now we can check here item ID 1,4. Initially it is inserted with 1, and the second record is inserted with 4. The second record is we are communicating with the bid. You can identify these two records. These two records are matched with item ID 4. Getting the point? Now, so this is the way we can make some relation with the two tables here. So that is nothing but one to many or many to one. Okay, so these are about the particular the simple association example we have used here. Now what I can do, I will go back to here. I will try to insert some information. Item dot. So we are getting some empty values here. Okay. We'll check here the created date. So we'll make something called new date. The date we can work on the today date here. Okay. Same way, item dot set description. The description also we can use what item we are going to like sell here. Something called so just I want to make some iPhone here. The description. Name also I want to make same here. Something we can make underscore I underscore 4. So to easily recognize. Sorry. Item dot description created date initial price. So we can make something called 1200. Start date, and the start date will make start date also today.nd. Okay. Now we'll try to insert same record one more time here. So this is the way we can create one item. Okay. Again, you can see the same three records are inserted, and we go back to item class because we changed some information in the item only. You can observe here so something called internal name, item name that is called I underscore 4. The description we made as a iPhone, the initial price here 1200, and the start date and the created date. So as of now we did not created any end date here. Getting the point. So this is the we can insert the record into item table. Okay. Now, so these all about the association called one to many and many to one. So we'll check with the persistence object life cycle here. So how exactly the persistence object the life cycle will work here? So carefully observe here. This is very important. Initially, what is the state is available. Later, where which state is going to back and what are the states are available here. Now, let me open some annotation here. Carefully observe here. Whenever we are trying to create here using this particular new operator, whenever we are creating with the new operator, the objects no longer associate with any session here. Associate with any session. So that is called these objects are available in the transient state. Getting the point? So let me, instead of using this, what I can do, I will use observe here. Basically, internally, by default, it is a transient state. Okay, and later it is persistent state, and the last one here detached. So we'll see when this particular transient state will comes under whenever we are trying to create an object with using new operator. So something called we are trying to create here. We're trying to create an object using new operator. So this comes under this particular new object will comes under the transient state. But whenever we're trying to call save or update, whenever we are calling these two methods, whenever we are calling this particular two methods, what will happen? So the state is entered into the persistent. The state enter into the persistent here. So now relation here it will look like. Getting the point? Now whenever we are trying to close the session here, how we are going to close? Session dot close. Once we close this particular session dot close, the state will enter into the detached. Getting the point? So once it is detached, again we cannot roll back to the persistent here. To come back to here, again we need to create new session. So we'll see how exactly the persistent object lifecycle will work here. But now this is the simple one. So we need to check here.
And in the answer stated that the object will be in the schema or it will be in our Java class.
So it's not going to communicate with any database. Once the session is open, then only it's have an option to communicate with the database. So whenever the session is available, we can observe we are in the persistent state. So in the transient state, it is simple object we created. So there is no communication with the database.
In persistence only the communication will be there.
Yes, in the persistent state only, every operation we are going to perform, because in using the session only we are going to perform any operation here, and if we are performing anything, that will comes under the persistence. Once the session is closed, so we'll back to the detached here. Okay, now from whenever we are trying to call get, so something called get or load, getting the point, get, load, and any find. So directly again we'll back to the transients to persistence. So observe carefully, even we are calling the save and save or update, will get back to the persistent. And now whenever we are calling the get and load also, will back to the from the transients to persistent. Getting the point. Now, so from the persistent, if you are going to call clear the session dot clear or close, so we'll enter into the detached. We'll enter into the detached. So this is the way the particular the life cycle of this particular persistent object will come, and we'll observe here how exactly so this is going to work here. Basically,
so this actually when we are going to use this get and load, till now we have not used it, right?
yes, we will see the get and load methods are going to communicate with the database to load an object. So we'll see that those example also. Okay, observe here. Basically, whenever we are calling the particular save method, so we have identified from the transients to it will back enter into the persistence, and how it's going to move to the persistent with the transactional also is going to play very important role here, and the transactional how we are going to get using this particular session object here. Observe here one simple example how exactly these are the transient and persistence are going to work here. So simple example, back to your class. So we created the bid and item class here. Getting the point. So this particular is not yet communicating with the session. Getting the point. So as of now, observe here where we are communicating here up to this, up to 24 to 38. So just we created a normal object here, but we are not communicating with any session or session factory here. Getting the point. But where we are communicating here using this particular session dot save. Using this particular session dot save, we are communicating. Whenever we are calling this, we are entering into the persistent state here. But how this session is coming here? How the session is coming? Using this particular session factory, we are trying to load in a session object, and from the session, we are trying to load the particular transaction here. So now, whenever we are calling the session dot close, here we are trying to close here. So we are going back to the detached state. So this is the simple example. Now observe here, to retrieve objects here, we are going to add simple example. Let's see what are the objects are available in our application. So Hibernate person also is there. Okay. Only one record we have. So we'll observe here to load an object. What I can do, I will try to comment. up to these lines, and we can comment this also. So carefully observe here what we are going to do here. So here we are going to call get method to load an object here. Now session dot get, session dot get. Here we need to specify the particular entity type here. What entity we are going to work here? So something called person dot class, and the ID I want to convert to long type. So what is an ID we are using? 1. You can observe here this particular get method is going to return one person object here. Now, so whenever we are calling here, so what we are doing here? So as I explained here, you can identify whenever we are calling this get method from the transients to we are getting into persistence. So carefully observe here. Here we are not using any new operator, but even though directly we are coming to this particular persistent state whenever we are calling this particular get method. So simple, for our simple understand what I can do, whether the object is loading or not, I will print person name get name. You can identify what okay. So here we specified the different configuration, and now let me save. Observe here the name of the person we are getting Hibernate. So this is the some SQL query generated here. Session is closed. So in this case also, what we are doing here, we are trying to come back to the transient state to persistent state. So this is the way we can work here. So now observe here the session object here. So initially we are working with save an object, but now what we are doing here, we are trying to work with to load an object using the particular get method. So now basically the session is going to use a query to the database to retrieve an existing object from the database here. Getting the point? And when the particular data is not available, the get method is going to return null. So here what we can do here, simply we can make one condition here. If the person is not equals to null, we can try to load the name of the person. Because sometimes based on this particular ID, we are not going to find any record. So see, I'm going to add 5 here. You can easily recognize here null pointer exception we are getting. Why we are getting the null pointer exception? Based on this particular ID, we don't have data, and this particular person we are going to get as a null. With the null reference, we are trying to load, we are trying to call the get name method. So because of this calling get name, we are going to get null pointer exception. So observe here, if you are calling this directly, if you are printing the person, we are not going to get any error here. So the data is not available, but we are not going to get any exception here. So observe here the particular person name null is nothing but this particular person we are getting null. But so this is very important when we are going to get the null point exception also. And carefully observe here now what I am doing here. So we'll go back to the user class here. Anything we defined here in the user dot. Okay. So not
I
user.
have one doubt here. Previous example doubt. Okay, can you go to the hibernate main.java? So here you mentioned you created the object side, bid, item, all these things. So and you in the configuration, right, you have read add resource bid hvm.xml, right? So you have done some mappings, right, between 2 to 3 tables. So how can we know from which table we have to load here, because we have defined other XML files also, right?
Where I defined other XML file?
Like category hvm.xml. What is user?
See, here we are not loading, right? Even if we are specifying the class path, here we are giving an option like which classes mapping file we are trying to load.
So for example, in my class, like if I am using the some categories, at that time I have to load that configuration file also. Automatically
Yes.
it will.
No, it will not load.
Okay.
Okay. Come back to here. So the same example you have seen just now. If I'm not loading the person, we are getting an exception. That is only the example here, whatever you are having the doubt. Okay. So come back to here. Now, what I am doing here, we are trying to load with the same person ID, and I will use the same here, the one here. So instead of printing this particular person, now what I am doing here, I will try to change. So carefully observe here, this is very important. Person dot set name. Person dot set name. Here, what is the name of the person? Something called Ram Kumar I want to give here. So initially, what is the name of the person we are going to get? So we are going to get as a Hibernate, and I'm trying to change it with Ram Kumar. So observe the same example I want to run here. So carefully observe here, we loaded an object, the object we are trying to print here, but after that what we are doing here, we are trying to update. So here this going to perform within the same transaction. After that we are trying to commit the transaction. So this concept we are going to call, so automatic, the T checking we are going to call in the Hibernate. Observe here, whenever I'm trying to run, the name is changed to Ram Kumar. So first what we are doing here, we are trying to load an object. After that we are updating the same record which we loaded based on the ID. Again, even if you carefully observe here, we did not call any save method here. Here we did not call any save or update method, but without calling also the data is updated. Getting the point? So this is the concept we are going to call in a Hibernate. Automatic dirty checking we are going to call. So maybe this is very important. Again, we don't want to call the save or update. Already in the same transaction, we will find the particular persistent object ID. Within the same transaction, we can perform these kind of operations here. Okay. Now what we can do, we'll try to move to the persistent to transient here. So to move persistent to transient, what are the steps we need to follow here? What are the steps we need to follow? To move from persistent to transient, we need to delete an object. Whenever we are trying to delete an object, we'll go back to the normal transient, because in the session we don't have any the particular persistent object information here. So observe carefully. Okay. The same, what I will do here, I'm trying to use the same here to load an object here. Okay, one more here. Let me use a load method. Okay. Just I want to give simple example, the difference between load and get here. So you can identify no row with a given identifier exists. So with a particular person with ID call 5, we are not going to get any data. But observe, even though whenever we are working with the get method with the same ID, just we got null. But here, whenever we are working with the load method, we are getting an exception here. So now what you understanding with the load method, so whenever we the data is available in the database, so then only we can communicate with the load method. And the get method here, even though if the data is not available, we can communicate with the database. So here only the difference here, the get method will return null if the data is not exist, and the load method will throw an exception. So that is the main difference here, and based on that we'll have the condition will come, like we will implement application here. Okay, so back to here our current example. So as of now we have seen from the transients to we come back to the persistent. Now from the persistent to I'm going back to the transient. So to go back to the persistent to transient, what we can do here, we need to delete an object from the session. Whenever we are trying to delete, we'll go back to the normal state called transient. And to delete an object, what we can do, so first we need to load an object. Now I'm loading an object. Getting the point? So once the object is loaded, sorry, we have a method called delete. Here I'm specifying this particular person here. The same ID, basically this particular person is available inside this session, because with the session only we are trying to load. So using delete method, we are trying to remove the object from the session. So in this case, what will happen here? We are going back to the transient state.
Transient.
Okay, observe here. So delete from Hibernate person where ID. Now go to our database. No data is available. No data is available because what we are doing here, we are trying to delete an object here. We are trying to delete an object here. So this is the way we can work on the particular transient to persistent and persistent to so detach from the detached to transient.
Exactly here, what is meant by transient, Suresh? Actually, transient means exactly.
So it is nothing but it is the initial state.
But we deleted it, right? So it came back to initial state. That's what you meant.
Yes, definitely right, because if the objects are no longer available in the session, is nothing but, see, simple example here. In Java, normally we create an object. The object is available in the heap memory. Okay, so the objects we are going to communicate with the reference call, so something called test. Getting the point? So this particular reference we made as a null. We made as a null. Observe here how we can make something called the reference we made as a null. Null, so whenever we are making null, this particular reference is not going to communicate with the heap memory. So as of now, this object is no longer available to any reference. So simply it is an ideal object here. Getting the point? If the ideal object, the garbage collector come into the picture, it will delete an object. Same way, so you can imagine this is the session. This is the session. So this is an object. This object is no longer available in the session. So it is nothing but we are into the initial stage. Whenever we are performing with any operation using the session object, so here we are doing any operation inside this particular session. Once the object is come back, there is no relation between the session and the normal object here. So that is very important here. And in this case, based on our operation, so the state of an object is going to change here. Okay.
For example, in this example, if you don't close the session, right? Like you mistakenly not given the statement session dot close, so that means it will be still in persistent state.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Come back to here. So as of now, we have identified the life cycle. But here in the last class, we are trying to focus on the cascade here. So cascade is nothing but I explained. So whenever we are going to have the parent and child relation here, if you want to update or delete any operation, if you want to change in the parent class, so the same thing if you want to reflect it in the child class, so what we can do, we have an option called cascade all. So here the all is indicating any operation, whether it is the insert or update or delete, any operation. If any operation, if you are doing only parent, so that will reflect it to child also. And so we don't want to use all the operation here. We have specific also something called instead of all, we can go back to the save hyphen update. So this is the one more solution. Just we can work on the save hyphen update. Is nothing but whenever we are trying to save or update, only it will reflect it to the parent related to child object. But when we are trying to delete any record from the parent, it will not affect it to the child. Getting the point? This is the alternative to all. And not only this, we can have one more here, none. So here, whenever we are making this particular none, the cascade, so there is no relation between parent and child. So now the changes are not reflected into the child tables here. So basically in the real-time application, we are going to work on the all here, but any operation if we are doing, we want to reflect it to the child object also. Whenever we are performing the parent object, so it will reflect it to child also. So that is the case we will work on the, and here this is all about the particular cascade here. Okay, now so making this particular category, what we can do, carefully observe here. Again, I want to check with the category, the dirty checking with the category object here. Let me delete this. We'll go back to this particular category. Inside this particular category, what we are doing here, how many parameters we are having? Go back to the category class. Okay, ID name and one object here, parent category, and we are going to have child category. Okay, let me open this class here. So ID here, name. Now we want to define the remaining two properties. So can you explain me how we can define? So basically here what we are doing is we are trying to communicate with the parent category to our category object here. So let me make the annotation many to one here. The name here, what is the name we specified? Parent category, right? And what is the name of the class? The class we are using the same class, so that is nothing but category, and we are going to specify the column parent underscore category ID. and here I am making the cascade none by okay. So this is the way we can work on the many to one, and after completion of this many to one, we have one more that is called child category. The child category we are working on this set, and the name of this set here we made as a child category, and inside the child category, the table, what table it is indicating here, the same table is going to indicate to something called category table only. And now observe cascade save hyphen update, save hyphen update here. So after that, key the key I am specifying here. What is the key we are going to communicate here? The key column will check with parent category ID. Okay, because these all operations we are performing within the same table. ID we specified the key column here, and now we can work on the one-to-many relation here. Okay, inside the key we are not going to get, here we will get one-to-many. What is the class here? Same class called category. Okay, observe here. Now what I am doing here, I created one category object here. Okay, so we'll go back to Hibernate main. Let me comment to these sections here. And I want to comment this particular person also. Here I can check category dot hbm.xml. But carefully observe, here I have a different types of category. So first one is something called the electronics category, something called cell phone category, computer category, as well as monitor category. Okay, we are comes under the different category. Now what I am doing here, I want to create one object here first. So with a different type of objects we'll create. Observe. So category is equals to new category, and category dot name. What is the name of the category here? So first we'll check with electronic. This is the one category. Okay, now let me save this. Okay, any other information we are missing? Name, item, ID, sale, parent. Okay, so we are not going to work on the particular parent category. So first we'll check with the default category objects here. Let me save this object. What I'm doing, I'm trying to insert with the different categories here. Okay. In the Hibernate schema, the table is created and altered with a sequence also is created. One object also is created. Okay. Now, after electronics, what I can do? Cell phones. I'm trying to insert with a different category. Okay. Cell phone also inserted. Now, computer. So these three is fine. So here what I'm doing here, I will try to load an object here. Okay. Go back to here. We'll check here the tables. Refresh the table. We can able to see category. And let me run the same example using Hibernate dot category. We are able to see the the category names with 3. But as of now, we don't have any parent category. So how we can write the parent category here? To write the parent category, what we can do? First we'll create. So first we'll load an object here. Okay. And we are not going to call session.save. And using the same session, we'll work on the get here. We can specify the type here. What class we are using here? Something called category. And ID is going to work on the serializable. Let me convert our long type. And we'll check with what is the computer category ID. 12. Okay, now I got the 12 computer category ID I'm trying to load here. Okay. One object we receive. Observe here. Now, again, what I'm doing here. After loading an object, so this is, let me make new category. Okay. We loaded object and after that I created the category. So something called laptops. Let me change with okay. Now category, what I'm doing, the loaded object with the reference. So get child category. The get child category dot add. Getting the point? Because the laptops are comes under the computer category. Getting the point? So this is the way what I'm doing. I created with a new category called laptop. Right. And now I'm trying to change to the child category. So once we change the child category, we need to make what is the parent category. How we can make the parent category using this particular new category dot set parent category. Set parent category, that is called category. Okay, observe here. Again, I'm not using any the particular save here. So we'll see how exactly it's going to work here. Now, carefully observe here. First, what we are doing here, we are trying to load one object here using the reference here. And after that, we are creating with one object that is called the child category. And again, we are updating with the parent to child relation here. So this is also very important here. Go back to here. Let me run. You can observe here. The laptops is created but the category name is we provided null because we made as the parent category here. So one record is inserted with the parent category. Let me check here how exactly the SQL is generated here. And new category. Go back to the console. So carefully observe here. We selected here the parent category from the same year, and after that the same category we are trying to load, and we are inserted into category with the 3 values, and what we are doing, we are trying to update here category and parent category ID, and the last one we provided with the parent category ID and category ID. The last is not updated, so the category name. So because of this, we are not going to get any category name here for the last record here. But the last record we already updated here, category name, that is called laptop. Getting the point. So this is the way we are going to get the relation between parent category and child category whenever we are going to have. And observe, we'll try to provide one more example here. Okay, now we'll check with a different example here. Let me comment these 3 examples. Now, what I am doing here, I want to load the same thing here. Okay, same the computer category. Let me change to computer category. After that, again, I want to create laptop here. Okay, let me go to the category class. We'll try to create one constructor here. Only one constructor, that is name. Okay, and back to here. I'm trying to copy the category. So this is the new category, and what I'm trying to specify here, so something called laptop accessories here. Okay, and I want to something called accessories I'm creating, and one more I want to create here. So that is different here. Tablets. Just it is a different category. Okay, now what we can do? Now what we can do? We'll create a one more category. This is our one more parent category here. So that is called laptops. So carefully observe here. This is very important here. And let me change to laptops here. And here, what I am doing here, with laptop is a parent one, and add the child categories. Add the child category here. The first one, accessories I'm adding. One more. Okay, tablets we are adding. After that, whatever object we loaded, so what we can do, here we can call add child category, and we are make as a laptops here. Okay, So after that, what we are doing here, we are going to commit this particular laptop here. So where is the session.save? So carefully observe, this time we changed with a different style. Let me stop this. So how many servers we started? Okay, we are executing multiple.
Here we have not set the parent, right, for this laptop access system tablets.
So you're not seeing the method here. We are calling the different method here.
Oh, okay.
Observe here how exactly it's working internally. Okay. So you can check here. These three are trying to load, finding the records, and where parent category ID, and the first one category ID. The remaining two we are getting with the parent category ID. And after that, again we are inserting one record with the category, and update we are trying to update only the category ID. So this is the way it's going to update here. You can check here. So laptops 14. But what is the difference we found here? Whenever we are not saving, the category name is not saving here. I want to provide the difference without call the save method and with call the save method. What is the difference we get here? So whenever we are not calling the save, the particular category name is not updating here, is not updating. And with the save, the latest record, whatever object we are trying to store, so the object is inserting here. So these are about the category related information here. And so this is very important, like how we can perform within the transaction using the save method, and how we can perform using this particular without save. Okay, so these all about the saving and updating, and we'll check with retrieving an object with a different style here. We'll check with the object with a different style. So we can continue like using the introduction to HQL, how we can work on the Hibernate query language, and criteria object and query object, that we can continue tomorrow class. Any questions regarding this?
Actually, this is a little confusing actually.
Okay, try to practice, you will get an idea. Basically, just I want to explain here. Without the save method, whatever the object we are trying to update, the record will not updated here, because we are having some relation here. So if we want to work on the sum between the parent categories, so here only you are able to find the simple example. Here only you are able to find the simple example here. Even though we are getting the parent category ID, but the current category we are missing, but here we updated with the current category. So this is just I want to explain here. With the session.save method, with any object, even if it is a dependent object, we can save, and along with the saving, whatever the object we want to update the current table, we can work on that using the session.save. Okay, we'll see more example on this, the category related, in upcoming classes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, we can